There is no set age. You should be old enough to appreciate the sacred nature of the blessing.
Read on.
How is the blessing given? The patriarch will place his hands on your head and give the blessing through inspiration. It will be revealed direction for you. The blessing will then be transcribed so that you can have a written copy to study throughout your life. The church will also keep a copy of your blessing in case you ever lose yours.
Right. So, in other words, it's a tarot card reading, right? It's just a palm reading. It's nothing. Yeah, it's foolishness, man. You know what it is? It's a way for them to collect money. Right. I'm pretty sure you got to pay for that somehow, some form of fashion. You know what I'm saying? So, this is some of the things you got to avoid while you're here waiting, right? Let's bring out a couple more of these verses and then close it out. Right, because so nothing biblical come out of this article here, right? This is all just the traditions of man, okay? And this is the misinformation that's prevalent throughout the earth, right? All the things you gotta be aware of and be circumspect of as you maneuvering out here, trying to keep the commandments of the Most High, all right? We should be waiting on the Lord, waiting on Him to defend us, and do so by being humble and meek, right? Because it says in the scriptures, the meek shall inherit the earth, okay? Not the proud and boastful. All right, so give me Proverbs 20:22.
Proverbs 20, verse 22 and 23. Say not thou, I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord, and He shall save thee.
That's right. Be humble, be meek, right? Go ahead.
Diverse weight are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good.
That's right. So we need to be balanced. We need to have a balance of faith and works, right? To please the Most High and to be in proper order according to the Most High, right? So then give me let's go to Psalms 37, 7-9.
Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospered in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth.
That's right. And so obviously when in that context it's saying, but those that wait upon the Lord. That means you're not doing those other things that they said, right? So you're keeping the commandments, teaching the faith in Yahweh Shai, and how to wait. That's how you wait properly, by doing those things, right? Keeping the commandments, teaching the faith in Yahweh Shai. All right. So then let's get Isaiah 4:31.
Yeah, there's no Isaiah 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got a precept.
Yeah, Isaiah's not short.
Okay.
I think that's really.
I got a precept for you.
Go ahead.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 16. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Verse 17. Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time?
Right. Hey, beautiful. You know,
Keeping that balance.
there you go. You know, a false balance is an abomination to the Most High.
Right.
So you can't be all good, can't be, all aggression. You can't be, all pride. You got to have a balancing give and take of everything, right? All right, so give us Isaiah 40 and 31.
But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint.
So when you're properly waiting on the Most High, i.e. keeping the law, statutes, commandments, and teaching others to do so, you know, that's what you need to be doing. All right. So now, Luke 19, 8 through 13. And, let's see. But now, keep pausing right quick.
This is Luke chapter 19, verse 8. And Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. And Yahushua said unto him, The day is salvation come to this house, for much so as he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which is lost.
God.
And as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable, because he was nigh to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of God should appear immediately.
Read that last part again where it says, and because they thought.
Because they thought that the kingdom of Yahweh should immediately appear.
That's right. And so you see a lot of our people, you know, they ain't no patience, you know. Hello, well, where's God? God didn't come back yet, and what is he waiting for? And we suffering this and that. Because they think that the kingdom of the Most High should immediately appear, right? Read on.
And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds.
Right, so now he's going into the parable, right, to explain, you know, to get his point across, all right? So go ahead.
And it said unto them, Occupy till I come. Down to the 16th verse. Then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, Well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, and have thou authority over 10 cities.
All right, so what we have a parable here, right, where there is a nobleman, right, and he's getting ready to go, and he's getting, you know, it says here, he's going into a far country to receive himself a kingdom, right? So he's getting ready to become the king, you know, a king or ruler, right? So he's leaving to go get crowned as a ruler and come back, okay? And now, as he's departing, he calls 10 of his servants, and he gives each of them a pound, right? Some money, okay? And then he says, Occupy till I come. In other words, wait, hold down the fort, right? Wait till I get back. Here's something to hold you over, right? Till I get back, all right? So then, once he returns, right? Can you pick up at 16 for us?
Then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds.
Right. So, you know, the king now, he's back. He wants to see, what did y'all do with the money that I left you? Okay. So the first man come up, all right, with that pound you gave me, I multiplied it by 10, right? Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities.
That's right. See, so that's the thing. While you're here waiting, and it seems like you don't have much to do, but you do have plenty to do, and ultimately, when the day of judgment comes, you need to be able to show what you've been doing. You know, Most High, if the Most High gave you put the Spirit on you to understand the scriptures and to have a zeal for the word of the Most High, okay, well, what are you doing with that? Have you been on the streets teaching the people, right? Have you been trying to, you know, have Israel to repent? Or are you just keeping it to yourself and then bragging about how much you know, right? Because that's not benefiting the nation.
Right.
Right, go ahead.
And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds.
Right. So the next brother, you know, he hadn't been quite as lucrative or he didn't multiply his pound into quite as much, but he was still diligent, because every brother is not going to have the same yield. Every brother doesn't have the same skills, ability, talent, whatever, but he has a portion that the Most High has given him, right? That he needs to do what he can with that. All right, read on.
And he said likewise to him, Be thou also over 5 cities. And another came saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept up in a napkin.
Right, so here's the brother who's in the spirit of most of the Negroes in America today. I don't want to risk anything. So I'm going to take this pound and I'm going to just put it away and save it, until I have to turn it back in. You're not, you don't want to take a risk. You don't want to have any faith. That's really what it boils down to. You're not having faith, right? You got a spirit of fear on you, or a spirit of complacency, right? And that's not going to benefit us either, right? We need manly men who aren't afraid to step out there and do what's needed. Okay, read on.
For I fear thee, because thou art an austere man. For I fear thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, Out of their own mouth would I judge thee.
Right, and see, that's a heavy point right there. All these Israelites that's saying, oh, well, yeah, I know we Israelites, or yeah, I know the laws, oh, I know there's more than 10 commandments, or, I know that the white man's the devil, or I know that, pork is wicked, but you're still gonna do it, right? That's wicked, okay? And so out of your own mouth shall you be judged, because you knew what you was doing was wrong, all right? Go ahead.
Thou wicked servant, thou knewest that I was an austere man. Take up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then thou gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required my own with usury?
Right, like you went out of your way to be mediocre and have no growth. You could have just handed the money to another brother and he would have done something with it and come back, or put it in the bank where, it might get a meager amount of interest built, but it's still more than what you was left with, right? Because what do you have to show for yourself, right? What do you have to show for all that time where you've been, quote unquote, waiting, right? So that's let you know, waiting doesn't mean just sitting in a corner, with your head down until time expires. No, you got to make the most of your time, right? Read on.
And he said unto them that stood by, Take from him the pound.
This is heavy. See, now this is heavy right here. If you haven't been doing your due diligence to push the kingdom of the Most High, read that from the top again, that last one.
And he said unto them that stood by, Take from him the pound, and give it to him that have 10 pounds. And they said unto him, Lord, he have 10 pounds.
Right, wait a minute, Lord, but this man already has 10 pounds. Why are you going to give him any more? Read on.
For I say unto you, that unto every one which hath shall be given, and from him that have not, even that he have, should be taken away from him.
Hey, man, you better tighten up out here, right? Because you don't have a lot more time to squander the Most High's blessings, right? The things that he left you, that you're supposed to be building and increasing those things so you can return to him and increase, right? But instead, you're just twiddling your thumbs. You're going to lose everything, right? Because you're not worthy of taking anything and being in charge of anything or being responsible for anything, because you're just going to let it sit there and mold and mildew and waste away, right? And become useless. That's unacceptable here. So waiting on the Most High, hey, you got to get to work, right? It's not about just watching time pass. It's about being diligent while you can, right? Making your election sure, right? So just get a couple more and close out. Let me get Ecclesiasticus 2 and 7, then we'll jump down.
Ye that fear the Lord, waiting for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fail.
That's right. So when you're waiting, you still got to be keeping the commandments and having the faith. You can't be getting caught up in all this false doctrine that Christianity's pushing and all their, questionnaire apps and different online, Christian answer, portals, whatever you want to call it. That's not going to get it, right? Because most of that stuff is not biblical, all right? So let's jump down to 14.
Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will you do when the Lord shall visit you? They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways.
That's right. So it's going to be very easy to tell who's serious, You can say whatever you want, but your actions and your results, right? The fruit, that's going to show everybody what's really real, okay? So lip service, that's not getting anywhere. You need to have some actions to show and prove, right? Read on.
They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law.
Hey, you got to keep the law. If you love the Most High, you're going to keep the law. Even Yahweh said it, right? If you love me, keep my commandments. All right? So now give me Jeremiah chapter 16, 16 and 17. We'll close it out.
Behold, I will send for many fishers, said the Lord, and they shall fish them.
That's right. So while you sitting here waiting, right? That's how a lot of, particularly Esau, he loved pastime by fishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So that's one thing you should be doing. While you're here waiting, you should be fishing men. Okay, read on.
And after will I send for many hunters.
See that? So you need to be fishing men, right? Because afterwards there's going to be hunters out, right? And you don't want to be hunted. Go ahead.
And they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out the whole of the rocks. For my eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from my eyes.
That's right. So while you're waiting, you got to understand that whatever you're doing, and you're thinking you're just going to, I can do whatever, and then, when I get old or when I get sick, then I'll clean up my act or this or that. It don't work like that. No, it does not work like that. So while you're sitting here waiting in Babylon, right, for all the promises to be and all of the prophecies to be fulfilled, right? You're waiting on the day. Well, hopefully that day is not of darkness and a day that you are dreading, right? Because that day is darkness. But for us, we haste that day, right? We hasten the day for those things to take place, because those things have to take place, right? It has to be death to America before there can be the new kingdom established.
Right.
All right. So it's just a give and take. It's nothing personal. It's just business, right? You get ready to purchase something. You got it in your hand, but you can't walk out of it until you pay for it. Same thing here, right? So be fishers of men while you wait, or possibly end up getting hunted down yourself, right? With that, that's pretty much all I have. So hopefully you got something out the lesson, right? Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. We say peace and blessings to the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Woe to the other nations, right? Saying death to America and Kwam Yashar.
Kwam Yashar.